Hello.
Hello.
Very nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
My name is Isabel. I'm going to be a lawyer and I work for the Elliker and Williams solicitor.
Thank you.
And yes, I'll be working with you on this case.
Okay, very good.
So I am glad to see you got here okay. How was the journey?
Yeah, it was fine. So I just live in sort of North Sydney, so yeah, it wasn't too far. So,
Oh, right. And have you lived in Sydney your whole life or?
I grew up in Sydney, but I only just sort of moved back about 5 months ago. I was previously living and working in Melbourne.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. Is there any reason why you moved back? Was it to be with family or just different job?
A bit to be with family, but I lost my job in Melbourne, so I needed, somewhere to go.
Right.
Financial reason, also being with family is a nice bonus.
Yeah, definitely. Well, firstly I'd like to ask you, before we get started, if you'd like me to take notes during our session, our talk today, or if it's okay with you, if I voice record, this will be strictly confidential. It's just so I can talk with you one-on-one, maybe. We can maybe get to know each other a bit more without me having to look down, take notes, and then I can go back over the voice recording and just try to fully understand your situation.
I think maybe the voice recording might be better, might be a bit more comfortable, I suppose.
Perfect. Set that up. Okay, so firstly, I just want to say that we're in no rush today whatsoever. I just want you to be completely comfortable with us and me as your lawyer. So the purpose of today's interview is to kind of get to know each other, just have a conversation. Ideally, I want you to have complete faith and trust in me as your lawyer. I want you to be able to confide in me because I am your lawyer and I am bound by confidentiality and I do have your best interest at heart. So what confidentiality is that it's just so anything that you say, you should know that I would only be able to release it if you permit me to. It will stay between us. And if I need to go get advice from my other employees in this firm, then it will also stay between them because they are also bound by confidentiality. But I must tell you that there are some exceptions to this confidentiality. So if I'm compelled by the law to release any information that you might have given me, if it is public knowledge, if you disobey court orders and it threatens someone's safety, or if your safety or someone else's safety is threatened, and if I have a duty to the court or tribunal to release it.
Okay.
But that being said, these exceptions are rare and they only come up in dire situations, so I just want you to know that whatever you say, it will stay between us.
Okay.
Right, so that is kind of the whole spiel. Now, let's get on to talking about you and why you're here.
So I guess I've sort of come here about my mother and sort of future plans for her. She's quite elderly now, sort of mid-70s, getting a bit older. And just, I know, recently, lately, she's just, behaving a bit oddly. Just hasn't really been herself, sort of forgetful and just even randomly accusing people from stealing off her and people hiding things from her and just, I've not been herself lately and I'm just, getting a bit worried about her and just thinking about advice for plans for the future and sort of what direction to go in. And there's also having questions sort of about her will, because I think think about changing the will. Previously, the house in particular is one issue, so that at the moment is being shared sort of equally between the 4 siblings, but with recent events, sort of me moving in to live with her and looking after her so much, because I've just done sort of so much with her over the past few months. Like, I've been there most days, so she hasn't had to rely on strangers looking after her, so I've been patient and been able to give her more or less like full-time support and care from my own home, and just really been able to help her through this tough time. I think she's mentioned, because that's now my home as well, the house that she's living in, sort of changing it from being shared between our siblings to just being given to me in her will.
So you mentioned that, just to summarise, just so I'm fully understanding, and if I get anything wrong, please just step in and tell me. You mentioned that you moved here from Victoria?
Yeah, Melbourne, yeah.
From Melbourne. You moved in with your mother. She's not doing so well at home. You are looking for advice about her future and legal advice about changing her will. You're looking for legal advice about changing her will from your all 4 siblings sharing a house to just being your house.
Yeah, that's it.
And you mentioned that you are the sole carer for your mother.
Yeah.
Right. So what is your mother's relationship with your siblings?
I think it's quite good. I know I've been a bit distant, like over the past few years, because I lived in a different state, but I know that now they've been looking after them, but now since I've come back and living with her, they're maybe not as close as I am with her. I suppose I am living with her sort of, full time, but I feel like we just have sort of different views on how things should proceed, and they're close, but I just feel like they're not agreeing as much on the best interest, and I feel like they're just getting a bit caught up in sort of family politics, not really putting my mother first.
Right. Okay. So that may or may not answer my next question. What is your relationship like with your siblings?
So I guess in the past few months we haven't really been getting on well. We've just been lots of disagreeing about, especially family situations. My mum, we just really seem to want different things, and they've been sort of accusing me of sort of manipulating her, and I just feel like they don't understand that I really have her best sort of interests at heart. I'm just trying to do everything to look out for my mother and take care of her.
Right, so they accuse you of manipulating her.
Yeah.
Okay. And also, if you're just comfortable enough to let me know, and remember that whatever is said has complete confidentiality, so I want you to put faith and trust in me. Your mother, that she's not doing so well at home, from what I gather, why have you not thought about have you thought about maybe putting her in a nursing home for better care, maybe to alleviate the stress?
I suppose my siblings are more inclined to put her in a nursing home, but I know for me personally, I've moved in with her and it's my home now, and because nursing homes are quite expensive, and if she was going to move into one, she probably would have to sell the house, which has been her home forever and also my home now, to pay for the fees up front, and that would more or less, like being my financial situation at the moment, I'd be I really need a roof over my head, and I can't afford to live in Sydney by myself, and I just feel like I need to keep my mother home, to have somewhere to live, more or less.
Yeah. Alright, so I'm really glad that you could share this with me. Is there anything else that you want to let me know?
I think cover more of it.